Good morning. Welcome to Fortune Cookies. Raven is peeking in today. Hi, Raven. Say hi. Raven's our border collie. She's kind of a maniac. So, had an idea about what we were going to do for today. And I'm coming back to all my One Direction people. We're going to do a little bit of Harry Styles. So, I woke up and I was thinking that perhaps Harry Styles is reincarnation of somebody very interesting. Oscar Wilde, for those of you who are unaware of Oscar Wilde, he was a poet, a writer, a fabulous celebrity in his day. We'll go over some fun facts about him as I do the reading. But he was actually tried. It was the first celebrity trial, really like the first celebrity trial. He had sued his lover's father for libel. And during the course of the trial, what came out was that was his lover. And he was actually prosecuted and convicted for a gross indecency. It was like lewdness with a man. I think there was another charge too, but he wound up doing a couple of years in prison. He did some writing while he was in there as well. If you are super young and you're unaware of Oscar Wilde, I totally suggest that you do a little bit of reading on him and read some of his stuff. Very, very interesting. Having been an English major, I'm well versed. So, it's very satirical. Some of the stuff is very funny. He is Irish. He is absolutely beautiful. But I'm getting the sense intuitively that there's some connections between Harry Styles and him. So, let's take a look. We're going to do like a little bit of past life stuff here today. So hope you enjoy this, and I will change the view. All right. So, today's coffee blend, just so you guys know, it's just a Phase mug. Oh, I can't tip it because I'm going to spill it everywhere. I've got a double chocolate mocha delicious coffee with peppermint creamer, which is not like me, white chocolate peppermint creamer. I'm not really into the white chocolate or the peppermint in my coffee, but for some reason, this one is amazing. So, you'll also see I have this lovely situation going on here. Cut my finger 2 days ago. Probably going for some glue today because it keeps bleeding. But back to what we were going to do today. So, we're going to see if Harry Styles is reincarnation of Oscar Wilde. So Oscar Wilde lived from October 16th. I think that makes him a Scorpio. Alexa, what sun sign is October 16th?
The zodiac sign for October 16th is Libra.
Oh,
would you like to know the personality of Libra?
No, thank you, Alexa. Have a great day. So Libra, balance. So, and I apologize. I don't know all of the sun signs right off the top of my head. Thought that was Scorpio. But he lived from October 16th, 1854 to November 30th, 1900. He died of meningitis at, I guess, age 46, that is, in his 40s. So, most famous thing that y'all may know is a picture of Dorian Gray. So, again, in 1895, he had actually sued or prosecuted the Marquess of Queensberry, who was the father of his lover, Lord Alfred Douglas, for libel. During the course of the trial, it came out that they were lovers, and things being what they were then, Oscar Wilde was then prosecuted for gross indecency, and he was jailed from 1895 to 1897. It was 2 years. So, my favorite quote from him: I find it harder and harder every day to live up to my blue china. One of my favorite things is the blue china that everybody in England seems to have. I know it's like it's really bougie, but the blue china is also seen as very commonplace. So there's just something about Harry Styles that feels Oscar Wilde. Now, I know all of you want me to do readings on his relationship with Lewis. I am not getting a whole lot on that. Like, I know that you One Direction files, like, you absolutely are calling me out on the carpet for some of my stuff, but I'm just reading cards here. So, again, like my first reading on Harry Styles was a request. I really am not a super fan, and I'm just kind of reading. But this, I thought this would be kind of fun, and we could bridge the gap between us. You know, if you want to point out facts or dispute anything that I say, totally fine in the comments. Just, be nice about it. Again, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just reading the cards, and this is going to be like a past life thing. So there's my sloppy shuffle every morning. So let's do this. So let's start, and we'll get a baseline. Let's get a baseline on Oscar Wilde. Let's just kind of give you all a sense if you're not real familiar with him. And we'll see what the cards say about Mr. Wilde. So what we've got here is somebody who says whatever comes to their head. There was no filter with him, which is a good thing. There was after a period of time, I'm getting the sense that this was after a period of time. He said, well, it reminds me of John Mulaney, like when he did, I think it was the first stand up, and he goes, I'm just gonna sit here and feed my birds. He just didn't care. He just didn't care what anyone thought of him. He spoke his truth. He spoke what he wanted to. He said what he wanted to, and he did what he wanted to. So good for him. Now, with that, when we have this knight in reverse, now remember, the knights are our action guys. These are the guys that are on a quest. They're on a quest for whatever their suit is. This particular one, he is on a quest for truth. He is on a quest for communication. He is putting things out there and trying to get things done. This is a thinker. Not sugarcoating what he said likely got him in trouble, hence the jail time that he did in 1895. Just a bit more mouth and a lot less thinking. So he wasn't worried. It was kind of a let the chips fall where they may. The Magician in reverse. Now, being the literary genius that he was, and I am saying literary genius, being the literary genius that he was, one of the things that he did not do was and I don't want to say tact, it's not tact, but he didn't play the politics. I think had he been born now, things would be very different because of the different sensibilities that we have and the different perspectives that we have about people's lifestyles and how they live. I think it would have been a very, very different perspective now. But he was very pleased with himself. This was a happy life. He rounded out his life, and he had zero regrets. He had 0 F's, 0 regrets in his life. So there were things that he left unfinished that he would have liked to have done, and he would have liked to have been more of a universal success. This tells me that he wanted to come back at a time that was more appropriate. So those of you that know little about past lives, or who are kind of warming up to the idea. So, the concept of energy cannot be created or destroyed. I really believe that we do pass on into different incarnations. I believe that we all have threads that run amongst us. So the jerky ex-boyfriend that I had when I was 20 years old, we're all still part of that same matter. So part of that jerky ex-boyfriend that I had is, in some way connected to me. The little kid that lives on the other side of the world in Australia, who is living his best life right now, that energy is part of me. We're all part of a whole energy conglomerate, if you will, and I think that there is a way to understand others. I get very frustrated when people that have very different philosophies from me, they get very angry and heated about things. It's what makes us very different from the animal kingdom. Is that we do have logic, and that we can think through things. So having this, I don't want to go too far afield, but having this universal energy, I do think that we can choose to, we step out of one mortal coil and step into another. I think it's totally possible. So there's our baseline on Oscar Wilde. Is Harry part of the Oscar Wilde energy? Is Harry part of that? Is he an evolution of the spirit that inhabited Oscar Wilde? Is he part of that energy? And I kind of feel like I should be using this deck, the Llewellyn, but let's is Harry part of that energy? We'll add to this. That was totally a weird. I'm going to do that again. That was a weird cut that I just did. I don't even know what was going on there. So, and if it's your first time here, please like, share, and subscribe. That's interesting. That is interesting. So now, our Knight of Swords in reverse, which came up as our primary energy in the last reading for Oscar Wilde, this is our baseline for Harry, is a Page of Swords upright. So this is getting the message right. This is it's laying the tracks for getting the message right. It's laying the tracks for saying the right things, for promoting the right way, for getting your message out there in a straight line. That is very, very interesting that we have this development, but a bit more guarded. Okay, now those of you who think that him and Lewis are together, we've got this guarded energy here. This is, having the development, having fought the good fight, and then taking a break and just settling into it, making sure that you protect yourself better. But there's still this little foolhardy spirit here. Now, when we do reincarnate, okay, when we do come into a new coil, we bring with us the experiences that we had in the last lifetime. So on the Fool card, that's for those of you that study the tarot, that is our little baggage here that the Fool carries. The Fool carries his experiences from this lifetime, from the last lifetime. So he's carrying them, and he's got his little friends with him. This is loyalty. This is, bringing your people along that are good for you. And then the flower is purity. So, we've got this in reverse. When we get that Fool in reverse and this Knight of Swords, he has a tendency to go back, and I'm saying it, he's going to go back to the Oscar Wilde energies there, and occasionally he's going to want to say F it and I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to feed my birds. I'm just going to sit here and feed my birds. But it's going to cause him some angst. And this lifetime is where he learns to balance this, okay? He will remember the angst that he experienced. Now, but he's going to learn how to balance his message and his lifestyle. That's pretty cool. That is pretty neat. So let's see. What lessons are actually, I'm not going to use this one. We're going to go to this one because I keep leaning this way. So what lessons will he complete from the Oscar Wilde incarnation to this incarnation? Oh, much more success. Much more success. That's great. Oh, that's awesome. Much more success. Recognition. So we did a lot here. We did a lot. So much more success and recognition. However, we've got this situation here where he just doesn't feel like he can fully present the messages that he wants. And I think I think there's some residual holdback because he tried to right a wrong in the Oscar Wilde incarnation, and what happened was it backfired and blew up in his face, and he was the one who wound up doing time for it. So even though we live in a very, very different world, and those types of judgments are not necessarily the norm at this point. We have, different rules now. We're not prosecuting people for being in a same-sex relationship. We're not, we're not calling a relationship between a man and a man indecency or lewdness. It's just a relationship. Sorry, I'm taking a delicious sip of coffee. I think there's some residual hold back on that. That's something that he could let go of in this lifetime. He could release that in this lifetime and kind of unburden his soul a little bit. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's like something that gives him pause and a little bit of anxiety. He's like, maybe I shouldn't say that. There's a level of diplomacy, but there's also a level of anxiety of not putting it out there. He is honing his craft in this lifetime. This is, I shouldn't say honing it. He's really perfecting it at this point. This isn't the beginning. He's really getting toward a good development of what his soul's purpose is, which is pretty cool. But we do have the Tower, so he does need to make some changes there. He's afraid to move forward and really take over what he needs to, and to have dominion over what he says and what he does. He's still holding back a little bit, but he's getting there. Let me see. What does he need to do to move forward? What does he need to do to move forward, to get rid of these karmic blocks? We'll call them karmic blocks. Needs to find balance and needs to understand that sometimes it is not moving away. It's not negative. The fight is over, and he just needs to take command over his language. He just needs to find his message and stick with it. So this is pretty cool. So I am going to say that I do think that Harry Styles has elements of Oscar Wilde in his current incarnation. I just think he does. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to do another video real quick. Someone had requested a video about Harry and his mother. So I'm going to do a video real quick of that. So you can check that out in a few minutes. I'll post it right after this. In the meantime, have a great day. Please like, share, and subscribe.